sports and entertainment video. This isn't going to be a long one at all. I saw this earlier on Instagram for the from the Mass Appeal Records Instagram account, as well as like OK Player. I saw it on there, and that Nas had won his first Grammy, and I just it doesn't validate his career in any kind of way, but it's just dope for it to finally happen. And even more, in my opinion, for the Grammys itself, even more than Nas being selected as to win the award, which whatever. But I thought it was dope the field that was actually chosen to be album of the year or best rap album of the year. I just thought that was a move, a big move forward, and indicative of some different consideration being given to the category or to the genre. So, in my opinion, man, shout out to Royce the 5'9" for the Allegory, which was a very dope album. Shout out to Gibbs and Alchemist for Alfredo. D Smoke, I believe it was Black Habits. The weird one for me is Jay Electronica, helped out significantly by Jay-Z with the a written testimony. And I think that was all five of them. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting one of them. But I just thought the field was different and deserved being acknowledged. I think the other thing that kind of was disappointing for me this year for Nas, and that's my favorite artist. It's my favorite artist. Has been for years. But I thought what was disappointing for me was that he didn't get a chance to host, not host, but to be the musical act for Saturday Night Live. I don't think he's ever been on there. I think Jay-Z, just in comparison, has been on Saturday Night Live twice. And I'm only really like cognizant of that, and it only has been an issue for me because Nas is from New York, is from New York. And like I said, I saw in earlier times when Jay-Z had a big record, they made sure that they got him on there. And I did think at one point in time, I thought Nas might have been on there when he had the One Mic, which was never really a favorite Nas record for me. But I thought when One Mic was out, I thought that I remembered him performing it on network TV. But I think it was on Fallon or one of the late night shows. So I was a little disappointed that that didn't happen this year. But hey, I do think Nas is the type of dude where either way, none of this really means anything to him. So whatever. But I just think it's dope, man, when the artists that you really rock with and that you supported for a long period of time, that they get the acknowledgement, on their contributions to music, and specifically to to hip hop, to rap music. I hear the concerns out there, or the people out there arguing about Freddie Gibbs should have got it for Alfredo, which was produced by Alchemist or The Alchemist. I don't have an argument against that. That's people's opinion. Again, I think it's dope that Freddie Gibbs received a Grammy nomination. I probably was a little bit more, but I'm biased. I probably was a little bit more of a fan of King's Disease. But definitely, this was the first year that I really got into Freddie Gibbs' music. Big fan of Alchemist's sound already. So it was a good album and everything. But it is what it is. And I think, for this album, man, for King's Disease, shout out to Hit Boy for getting involved. I wasn't fully on. I had some concerns with him being the only one, the only producer on the project. But shout out to him for, he had a monster year. He's probably had the best year in the genre with doing heavily contributed to the Judas and the Black Messiah soundtrack. Also did the record for Benny Benny the Butcher's. Man, I can't think of Benny's album off the top of my head, but Hit Boy had a phenomenal year, and I think they really pulled it off. And I still, even for Nas, even though he's getting this Grammy or won this Grammy, I still don't think like some of the better records on the album really received the attention and the recognition that I thought it deserved. Until the Wars one, I thought was a really dope record. I couldn't find 5 people that were fans of it, and that's usually how Nas's music is received. But and even like a couple months later, 2 months later, 3 months later, I thought Ultra Black really the hell is John Baptiste doing? I thought Ultra Black like 3 or 4 months later really hit a lot better than it did when it first came out. It's killing me that I cannot think of what the hell Benny the Butcher's album was besides just I Don't Feel Famous. I'm just completely brain dead on it. But yeah, man, that's it, man. And like I said, sometimes, man, for some of these people, Denzel Washington got his first Oscar leading man, for Training Day. And people thought that, the award should have come earlier in his career for, better roles. Denzel had to be a villain and a bad guy before he got one. Sometimes these awards become career achievement awards versus being, respected for a particular project and whatnot. And I'm not gonna sit here in front, man. A lot of Nas's albums, weren't worthy and didn't garner, they didn't have mass appeal for Play on Words. For those of you who don't know, that's his record label that he's involved with now, or Heads Up, or whatever. The other thing that I was thinking, just like and like I said, I don't really root for a whole lot of individuals. I don't. But I will, I do root for a few individuals who won't go out there and root for themselves. And I think Nas is definitely one of those guys where it's never really been about record sales. It's never been about, it's not about having all the radio play. It's not been about being on all of the TV shows when those were out there. He's really a private guy. And I also, part of, some of the criticism of some of his albums, some of the shortcomings throughout the year, different albums, a sample didn't get cleared or a key song didn't make it onto the actual album. Sometimes he didn't want to do a lot of promotion. He didn't want to make videos. He's just kind of all, he didn't want to pay for certain producers. He didn't, whatever their price was, he didn't want to do that. Or he didn't want songs that were gonna cross over, and kind of go mainstream and whatnot. He would reject those types of records. And then with the whole album, last thing I'm gonna say, the whole album, the Untitled joint, that was supposed to be, nigger, Nigger, that became like, he didn't even really handle how that album rolled out. Really, he just was like, whatever, I wanted to do it my way. And that just goes to show kind of like the power of the people who call the shots in the record in the industry. That here he is, he couldn't name his album. That there was also a song that was supposed to be on that album that was something like You're a Nigger Too, or Everyone's a Nigger, or something. You can find it on YouTube if you want to hear it. But he was making a statement about like everybody wants to associate the N-word with black people, but he was like, all ethnicities have racial slurs. And then on top of that, all ethnicities have, as popular as hip hop was, he was like, some of y'all want to be N-words. And it was weird that song was, it didn't make it to the album. And so I just say, man, that just goes to show who has the power, in some of these decisions. Like, hell no, you can't go out there and give this message that you can't, because he used the racial epithets in the hook of that song, and it didn't, like I said, it was left off of the album. And I like the rest of the album anyway, but I just thought it would have been that much more powerful of a statement if that record would have been on the album. So anyway, man, shout out to him. It's like 27 years ago was when I first bought Illmatic. And this young dude who was younger than 19, might have been 18 or 17 when he wrote some of that project. The statements that he made, the observations that he had, the commentary that he brought to the game, the intellectual, the philosophical, the introspective lyrics and the storytelling and whatnot. Guess who got shot in the Dome piece? Jerome's niece on the way home from Jones Beach. Just trip down memory lane. One Love, Whose World Is This? All that, it just was like, this dude is ridiculous. Life's a Bitch. So, like I said, man, just all these years later, it's just crazy to see a dude, that you really rock with, that he get that type of recognition to, to really receive that type of love for his craft. It's like if he wins, then we won. I won along with him and supporting him all of these years. Anyway, man, I don't even, is this Lizzo or somebody that's up here? Best new artist? Yeah, I guess that's her. Anyway, man, if you do the Grammy thing, is on. That new episode of It's Always Personal is out there. Speaking of award shows and whatnot, cat that used to work at BET was this week's guest. He was on the live stream that I did Friday night, but the episode with him of It's Always Personal, the podcast, is now up. So if you don't want to listen to it over here, you can check it out over on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as Anchor.fm. As Meg Thee Stallion just won some award, maybe Best New Artist. Anyway, I'm out of here, man. Peace.